vedati asuranam charajasi tamasi uddhava rakshasam. With the increase of mode of goodness, the strength of the demigods similarly increases. When passion increases, the demoniac becomes strong. And with the rise of ignorance, O Uddhava, the strength of the most wicked increases. That is the secret behind why in Kali Yuga all the evil people seem to flourish. Why? Because of this. We are at fault. When passion increases, demoniac becomes strong. And with the rise of ignorance, O Uddhava, the strength of the most wicked increases. So naturally, everybody is in the mode of passion and ignorance, and that's why in this age, Kali is very, very strong. And all the Kali Chelas also are very strong. They are ruling the roost and harassing all the people, the goodness. And because we have lack so much goodness, strength of the Devatas also reduces. Then, so that is what? That is the, people are wondering why it is like that. Of course, we can increase our goodness by becoming Krishna conscious, then automatically the strength of the good people will increase. Devatas will also bless, and goodness will be able to defeat passion and ignorance. So it's in our hand, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very confident. Chanting increases the modes of goodness much more than in any material way. So just by becoming a surrendered devotees, then goodness will increase, and automatically all good people only will be successful. And that's how it was in earlier times. It was very, very clear that if you are good, then you will succeed. If you're bad, then you will. That happened very fast when people were punished or corrected very fast. But in today's world, very difficult to catch one criminal. Happily, they'll be corrupt and they'll go on for so many years. They'll be at large, and people feel, what is the use? I mean, what is this? Why is it happening like that? Here is the answer. We are to blame. Sattva jagaranam vidyat rajasa swapnam adiset prasvapam tamasa jantos turiyam trishut santatam. It should be understood that alert wakefulness comes from the mode of goodness, sleep with dreaming from the mode of passion, and deep, dreamless sleep from the mode of ignorance. The fourth state of consciousness pervades these three and is transcendental. Purport. Our original Krishna consciousness exists eternally within the soul, and it's also present in all the three phases of awareness, namely normal wakefulness, dreaming, and dreamless sleep. Being covered by the modes of nature, this spiritual consciousness may not be manifest, but it continues to exist eternally as the real nature of the living entity. So the soul is always there in the outer covering only. There's wakefulness, sleep, with dreaming, the mode of passion, and deep, dreamless sleep is all of the body. And the fourth state of consciousness pervades these three and is transcendental. And when one is fully transcendental, one doesn't even need sleep. That's why Prabhupada said that the Goswamis hardly slept even for 2 hours. And he himself was also like that. They had to force him to go to sleep in the night. Prabhupada he couldn't sleep. I mean, he had to really make himself sleep because he was all the time um, conscious, aware, and wanting to serve Krishna. Upari upari gachanti satvena brahmana jana tamasa dhoda amukyad rajasantaracharina. Learned persons dedicated to Vedic culture are elevated by the mode of goodness to higher and higher positions. The mode of ignorance, on the other hand, forces one to fall head first into lower and lower births. And by the mode of passion, one continues transmigrating through human bodies. Shudras, persons in the mode of ignorance, are generally in deep illusion about the purpose of life, accepting the gross material body as the self. Those in passion and ignorance are called Vaishyas and hanker intensely for wealth, Whereas Kshatriyas, who are in the mode of passion, are eager for prestige and power. Those in the mode of goodness, however, hanker after perfect knowledge. They are therefore called Brahmanas. Such a person is promoted up to the supreme material position of Brahmaloka, the planet of Lord Brahma. One who is in the mode of ignorance gradually falls to the level of unmoving species, such as trees and stones, while one on the mode of passion, filled with material desire, but satisfying it within Vedic culture, is allowed to remain in human society. Of course, here asuras, it's not mentioned, but asura's mode of passion, which has a lot of, envy towards Krishna, then they sink to the low planetary systems. Because you can be in mode of passion, like in the human society, without envying Krishna too much. That is also envy. Mode of passion is a kind of competition and envy, but not so much of hatred for Krishna. Then are allowed to stay in the earthly planets. So that is the thing. The mode of goodness elevates. And Lord Brahma, he is the highest representative. He's the one with the highest mode of goodness among all living entities in this universe. And he tells Krishna in the 10th canto, where, when he repents for, not recognizing Krishna and trying to test him and all that. And he says that I've completely controlled my senses, and I don't try to enjoy my senses at all, or my mind, and I still could not recognize you. So that small tinge of passion, imagine, very, very, very small, one layer of passion which he had, by which he thought I'm the creator. By that, he could not recognize Krishna, and he felt very much repentant. And we are like steeped in passion here on the earthly planets. And so we must try to elevate. That is the thing. Only if we rise in goodness, we get elevated, even for material positions. And that he's talking about in the planetary, in terms of birth in the different planets. But even within the earthly planet, where mode of passion is more prominent, of course, it's not pure mode of passion, it's mixed with goodness and ignorance. And so more goodness, then you'll automatically get better births, and also you will be successful also in life. Initially, in Kali Yuga especially, if you are mode of passion, then you may be more successful, but doesn't last. What ultimately is successful is only mode of goodness. Sattve pralina swaryanti naralokam rajolaya tamolayastu nirayam yantimam eva nirguna. Those who leave this world in the mode of goodness go to the heavenly planets. Those who pass away in the mode of passion remain in the world of human beings. And those dying in the mode of ignorance must go to hell. But those who are free from the influence of all modes of nature come to me. So even mode of goodness is not good enough. That means, to the extent that, suppose we are very mode of goodness and not so much Krishna conscious, but we can't think that, oh, okay, I'll go back to Godhead because of mode of goodness. Above mode of goodness is surrender to Krishna. If we are mode of goodness and use everything as a devotee for Krishna's pleasure, then definitely we're going. But if we have some traces of passion for position, power, all that, then you'll go to the heavenly planets. And those dying in the mode of ignorance must go to hell. Okay, but free from all the influences, that is what Krishna consciousness is. Will surely come to me. Mad arpanam nisvalam va satvikam nijakarma tat rajasam phala sankalpam himsa prayaditamasam. Work performed as an offering to me without consideration of the fruit is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Work performed with a desire to enjoy the results is in the mode of passion. and work impelled by violence and envy is in the mode of ignorance. Ordinary work performed as an offering to God without desire for the result is understood to be in the mode of goodness, whereas activities of devotion, such as chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord, are transcendental forms of work beyond the modes of nature. So, but material work can also be offered to Krishna, which is then also becomes transcendental. Any work. He is saying activities of devotion such as chanting and hearing are transcendental forms of work beyond the modes of nature. That's very obvious, but also without any desire for results, but offering the results to Krishna also makes ordinary work transcendental. Kaivalyam satvikam jnanam rajo vaikalpikam cha yat prakritam tamasam jnanam mannishtam nirgunam smritam. Absolute knowledge is in the mode of goodness. Knowledge based on the duality is in the mode of passion, and foolish materialistic knowledge is in the mode of ignorance. Knowledge based upon me, however, is understood to be transcendental. The Lord clearly explains here that spiritual knowledge of His Supreme Personality is transcendental to ordinary religious knowledge in the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one understands the existence of a higher spiritual nature within all things. In the mode of passion, one acquires scientific knowledge of the material body. And in the mode of ignorance, one fixes one's mind on the sense objects without higher awareness, perceiving things as a small child or a retarded person does. Srila Jiva Goswami elaborately explains in his commentary on this verse that the material mode of goodness does not award perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. Not about Krishna. Through material mode of goodness, you understand I'm spirit and everything is spiritual in nature, other than matter. In the material mode of goodness, one becomes pious or religious, aware of a higher spiritual nature. On the spiritual platform of purified goodness, however, one establishes a direct, loving relationship with the absolute truth, rendering service to the Lord rather than merely maintaining a connection to the mundane piety. That's very important. You have to make a distinction between mundane piety and connecting with the Lord. Sometimes you may not be able to distinguish, and we think all are same. It is not the same. The consciousness, if it is just done because it is very good and pious and I will do this, but where I am the center, it is all for me. And that is just mundane piety. But one transcendental is a loving relationship with the absolute truth is only concerned about how to satisfy Krishna, how to be so loving without any thought about oneself. So that is very much more elevated, rendering service to the Lord rather than merely maintaining a connection to mundane piety. In the mode of passion, the conditioned soul speculates about the reality of his own existence and of the world around him, and considers speculatively the existence of a kingdom of God. So, in the mode of passion, one has material intelligence and also speculates about the kingdom of God. He has faith in God, but he is not very clear and uh, and speculates about the reality of his own existence and of the world around him, and considers speculatively the existence of a kingdom of God. So mental speculation is very prominent in the mode of passion, and that's why we have so many philosophies and theories all over the world. So many things about the truth, and everything may seem reasonable to some extent. Logic, analysis, all that. It's more based on sense perception and using the mind and intelligence to come to some. So you can imagine each one's mind is different. So there are so many theories. In the mode of ignorance, one acquires knowledge for sense gratification, absorbing the mind in varieties of eating, sleeping, defending, and sex without any higher purpose. Thus, within the modes of nature, the conditioned souls are trying to gratify their senses, or else they're trying to free themselves from sense gratification. But they cannot directly engage themselves in their constitutional liberated activities until they come to the transcendental position of Krishna consciousness beyond the modes of nature. So, this is not an easy thing to become transcendental and be engaged in Krishna consciousness. We have to really want that. We have to be convinced that I don't want to again and again forget Krishna and again go through this whole thing of, taking a birth and then sometimes happiness, sometimes sorrow. And I don't want all that. I want to be always in my original position. And the problem is, we are interacting with people who are in different modes. So we have to be very careful that we don't get influenced, pollute. That is the difficulty. Even you may be convinced, I want to act for Krishna. But then when we are socially interacting with other outside world and among devotees also, we have to be very discriminating whom we associate with. We are very careful. If somebody is influenced by tamoguna or too much rajoguna, we should not intimately associate with them and get polluted in our consciousness. That's very, we have to watch out for that. We have to take care. Just like when COVID came, everybody was so afraid of getting infected and we are put a mask and don't come too close, and we took care. So it's a question of our survival, and this is also a question of our survival, whether we want to go eternally or we want to take repeated births. If you say, oh, no, I don't discriminate, I'm equal to all, and I will, it's not that we have to be nasty to them or mean to them or anything like that, but our consciousness, we have to guard it very safely. And you will see that. Suppose you are interacting one day with people who are very passionate or ignorance or something. And then you might think, why today my mind is not so focused, or, it's sort of affected by all these emotions and so many, whatever, ups and downs, or you tend to get a little agitated or angry. Then that means you got infected by that. On the other, so if you are aware of what's happening, then again you can come back to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, people without awareness, they easily get influenced. Somebody they will interact because of whatever reason, just some kind of attraction or just friendliness. But we have to be watching out whether what they say is not degrading our consciousness. Of course, if we are strong enough, we can correct them or change the consciousness. But ourselves, we have to be very careful that we are not infected by those modes. Vanam tu satviko vaso gramo rajasa uchyate tamasam dyuta sadanam manniketam tu nirgunam. Residence in the forest is in the mode of goodness. Residence in a town is in the mode of passion. Residence in a gambling house displays the quality of ignorance. And a residence in a place where I reside, Krishna, where I reside is transcendental. Many creatures in the forest, such as the trees, wild boars, and insects, are actually in the mode of passion and ignorance. But residence in the forest is designated as being in the mode of goodness because there one may live a solitary life, free from sinful activities, material opulence, and passionate ambition. Throughout the history of India, many millions of persons from all walks of life have adopted the orders of Vanaprastha and Sannyasa and have gone to sacred forests to practice austerity and perfect their self realization. Even in America and other Western countries, persons such as Thoreau achieved fame by retiring to the forest to reduce the scope and opulence of material involvement. The word grama here indicates residence in the village of one's family. Family life is certainly full of false pride, false hopes, false affection, lamentation, and illusion, since the family connection is squarely resting on the bodily concept of life, the very opposite of self realization. The word Dyuta Sadanam, gambling house, refers to pool halls, racket, racket racks, poker clubs, bars, and other sinful places that maintain an abysmal level of consciousness in the mode of ignorance. Man Niketan Tam refers to the Lord's own abode in the spiritual world, as well as the Lord's temples within this world, wherein the deity form of the Lord is appropriately worshipped. One who lives in the temple of Lord Krishna, following the rules and regulations of temple life, is understood to be residing on the transcendental platform. In these verses, the Lord clearly explains that all material phenomena may be divided into three divisions according to the modes of nature, and that ultimately there is the fourth or transcendental division, Krishna consciousness, which elevates all aspects of human culture to the liberated platform. So, residence in the forest is in the mode of goodness. You can see that if you go to, I mean, a forested area or very peaceful, where there is not too many people around and nature is predominant, and rivers and cows and all these things, and you sit there and chant, you'll be surprised. Oh, chanting is so nice, very easy. Mind is not getting distracted. Mode of goodness around, and or you sit in a temple and chant, then your mind is more peaceful. And in the city, mode of passion, you all the time something or the other is happening and your mind is very disturbed. That's why we struggle that's why at least in the morning, Brahma Muhurta time, there is no passionate activity happening. Nobody is awake, and disturbing thoughts won't come. And then mode of Tamoguna, so that is then staying in the city. And he says grama here indicates residence in the village of one's family. Family life is full of, I mean, that is one, not a devotee family is like that, full of false pride, false hopes, false affection. So, lamentation, it's all about family pride, and so much they become attached that they are, if anything happens which threatens their pride or their honor, then they avenge that. They become very much, it's like some kind of a disease. It just enters them and they feel very, they just feed each other's ego. If you see, the materialistic family will always be sitting and glorifying themselves and putting down others, or feeling envious about somebody else and wanting to do something to spite them. This is all it is. Mostly, you see, whenever the people are coming together, relatives, friends, this is all. If they're same, belong to the same this thing, or even extended family, glorifying themselves and feeling envious of others. Unless they are pious people or very devoted, then of course it's not like that. And squarely resting on the bodily concept of life, the very opposite of self-realization. All the talk will completely intoxicate you into thinking you're this body, right? Nobody will talk, oh, no, we have to think about, I mean, only devotees will think about it. Let's go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, let us go and serve Guru Maharaj, let's go serve the Vaishnavas. That happens in devotees families, but materialistic families only about sense gratification and about glorifying ourselves. Then, of course, mode of ignorance is all these gambling dens and all where brothels and bars and all these places. It completely just no higher awareness at all, just about the body and the sense gratification. So, but the wonderful thing is, even such people, That is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that even such people, if you give them love and compassion and give them prasadam, read the books, give them some spiritual knowledge, then because they have some rajoguna and they have also some sattva guna, everywhere sattva guna is also there. Even a drunkard has some sattva guna. He cannot be fully tamoguna. He will have some sattva guna. So somehow, and he is a soul. And that's what Prabhupada showed. He went all over the world and people thought, oh, tamoguna, rajoguna, where they will become devotees. But Prabhupada addressed their fourth dimension, transcendental self, and was able to pull them out of their tamoguna, rajoguna, with some intelligence, spiritual intelligence, to uh, take up Krishna consciousness. So we have to address that aspect only, always, of people, not to their rajoguna and tamoguna, but feel free that see everywhere that people are only souls, whoever it may be, and then we only address that aspect of the person, see them like that, then our talk will also be something uplifting. Not, if you see them as their body, then either it will sink to rajoguna, tamoguna, will waste our time, waste our own consciousness, spoil other people also. Never indulge in any of we have to be aware which mode am I working. We have to be constantly aware of that. Otherwise, we won't even know what is happening to us. I'm chanting now, why I'm not progressing? What mode? I mean, we have to constantly be aware, because okay, 1.5 hours to 2 hours you chant, then rest of the time, what you're doing, which mode you're operating, that we have to be very watchful about. And so if we are trying to operate on the spiritual platform, by, of course, by association with the scriptures, associating with devotees, and so like that, we fill our consciousness with mode of goodness thoughts. And when we see mode of passion, then we get very disturbed. Oh, how do I react now? Then our mind gets disturbed, and we also start thinking like that, because it's easy to fall down in the material world, very difficult to raise one's consciousness, but falling down very easily, even from the transcendental platform in the material world, very easy to fall down, because that's how the material world is made, only for sense gratification. So we have to make that extra effort in order to remain in a proper consciousness. Satvika karako sangi ragando rajasa smrita tamasa smriti vibrashto nirguno mad apashraya. A worker free of attachment is in the mode of goodness. A worker blinded by personal desire is in the mode of passion. And a worker who has completely forgotten how to tell right from wrong is in the mode of ignorance. But a worker who has taken shelter of me is understood to be transcendental to the modes of nature. A transcendental worker performs his activities in strict accordance with the directions of Lord Krishna and the Lord's bona fide representatives, taking shelter of the Lord's guidance. Such a worker remains transcendental to the material modes of nature. So that is the secret. We just work under the guidance, and then we will not be disturbed by the three modes. But so it is up to us to always remember that I'm a servant of Krishna. The minute we forget that, then the three modes will just catch hold of us. So so being transcendental includes mode of goodness. We'll automatically raise our consciousness, even materially. A person, if you forget Krishna, a person in the mode of goodness is safer than a person in tamoguna. If he keeps on trying to think of Krishna, again he forgets Krishna, it's very dangerous. He might do something, nonsensical. So that's why you have these, in the beginning, various devotees. They'll be performing all this, and then they stop chanting. Then you'll see them, oh, go to all, in shops, there'll be, or outside the temple. I mean, we used to watch that in Mumbai. We were living close to the Jew temple, and we used to visit the temple, and then because it's full of shops over there, we'll see some devotees in the temple, and after some time, we'll see, hey, this devotee from the temple, what he's doing here? He'll be doing something, I mean, like a karmi. So that's why, and we used to wonder, oh, what is that? Because we were just new and we thought everybody in the temple were all perfect. So it's so if we, whatever modes we are, we have to rise our thing from tamoguna. It's not permanent. From tamoguna to passion to goodness. So those who are in tamoguna, they're trying to chant and doing everything in the temple. So while they're doing, maybe they're even in transcendental, they're thinking only of Krishna. Then once it's over, morning program is over, whole day is there. Then mind, you forget Krishna, then immediately tamoguna comes. Oh, let me go and smoke. Let me go do something like that. So that's why we have to, I mean, we may want to follow, but our modes, that's why all the time we should be connecting with Krishna. If we stop, we think only morning program is important. Afterwards, it's all my time. Okay. I gave the time for Krishna morning. Rest of the time is for me. If you think, then it's quite risky because we'll fall down to whichever mode at that time is, influencing us. And we may be doing very materialistic activities. And then we'll wonder, how I've been chanting and chanting for so long, why I'm not making progress. सात्विकी आध्यात्मिकी श्रद्धा कर्म श्रद्धा तु राजसी तामसी अधर्मी या श्रद्धा मत सेवायां तु निर्गुणा. Faith directed towards spiritual life is in the mode of goodness. Faith rooted in fruitive work is in the mode of passion. Faith residing in irreligious activities is in the mode of ignorance. But faith in my devotional service is purely transcendental. So there are some people who are pious and they want spiritual life. They have faith in that. But different from that is transcendental means you're not even thinking in terms of goodness, passion, ignorance. What does Krishna want? That's what I want. That is transcendental. And that's the difference you see how between Yudhishthira and Arjuna. Yudhishthira is also transcendental, but a little bit attachment to mode of goodness. He himself used to, think about, I must be very good and I must only speak the truth and all that. More than following Krishna's instructions, little bit attachment was there, mode of goodness. Whereas Arjuna, whatever Krishna says, that's it. He says, go kill, go tell lies, whatever. Yes, Krishna, finished. That is actually real knowledge, that whatever Krishna does is perfect, whatever he says. We don't have to see whether what Krishna is saying is correct or not. And so we have to make the distinction of how to love Krishna. That is what. Loving Krishna is the key to rising to the transcendental platform. Patyam putam anayastam aharyam satvikam smritam rajasam chendriya preshtam tamasam charti dasuchi. Food that is wholesome, pure, and obtained without difficulty is in the mode of goodness. Food that gives immediate pleasure to the senses is in the mode of passion. And food that is unclean and causes distress is in the mode of ignorance. Food in the mode of ignorance causes painful disease and ultimately premature death. So the food that is wholesome, pure, and obtained without difficulty. So what is locally, easily available? Actually, even Ayurveda says that those things which grow in the place of your birth or where you reside, that is very suitable for you. Krishna has made different types of vegetables, different types of fruits. Why? Because in each place, for the people, that climate is different. That climate requires a different type of food. And maybe different people, tamoguna, that also, those who are very pious, they will have very, very pious fruits and vegetables, like especially in India. And that's why our grandparents and that generation, they would not eat anything which came from abroad. They will not eat, for example, tomatoes or beans or what are the carrots. They won't eat all that because they say, no, this is all foreign vegetables. Maybe they were right, because that will not, maybe it's more in the mode of passion also. And also maybe because it's not suited for this particular, wherever you're living, the kind of weather and climate and all that. But now, of course, we have one international creatures, everything comes and we just eat everything. We offer it to Krishna and make it transcendental. But generally, I mean, among the modes, then, which is without obtained without difficulty, and then we want to import it all the way from US something and eat with great difficulty. But food that is, I mean, unnecessary food that is wholesome, right? All the normal food that we have, our Indian food is very, very wholesome and pure and obtained without difficulties in the mode of goodness. Food that gives immediate pleasure, fast foods, oily foods, all that, which is, very spicy or salty and all those things, pleasure to the senses, is in the mode of passion. And food that is unclean and causes distress. So meat, old stale stuff, all this causes distress and also causes disease and ultimately premature death. Satvikam Sukam Atmotham Vishay. And that's why we can see why the lifespan is reducing with the advance of Kali. Even Kali Yuga itself has got short life, only 100 years. And within that 100 years, at least our grandparents uh, and even our parents, this thing, they are at least beyond 90, they lived between 90 and 100. And nowadays, I don't know, the younger generation and even my generation, it's, I don't know what till what age, because of so many diseases, not leading eating all these junky food and irregular lifestyles. Satvikam Sukam Atmottam Vishayotam tu Rajasam Tamasam Moha Dainyotam Nirgunam Mad Apashrayam. Happiness derived from the self is in the mode of goodness. Happiness based on sense gratification is in the mode of passion. And happiness based on delusion and degradation is in the mode of ignorance. But that happiness found within me, Krishna is saying, is transcendental. So there's a difference between self, ourself, and Krishna. Whereas in the mode of goodness, it is ourself from our own Atma. Whereas Krishna consciousness, transcendental, is happiness with Krishna, by associating with Krishna. That happiness is transcendental. Whereas just the fact that I'm not the body, I'm the soul, that also gives a lot of happiness, because you're not dependent on any sense gratification, just happy always. Some people are happy always, but in the mode of passion, sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Why are you happy? Oh, I got a promotion, or I got an award or something, or some material, this thing, oh, I got married, for I'm happy at that time, and then something doesn't work out, I'm very sad. That's all mode of passion. Whereas if we always thinking I'm on the spiritual platform, always happy, material circumstance will not, um, that's not the source of the happiness. And happiness based on delusion and degradation is in the mode of ignorance, right? Just to see others suffering. Very nice. Let them suffer. That is happiness in the mode of good, sorry, ignorance, right? Some people feel so happy that others are suffering, and they feel they feel happy when others are suffering and very sad to see other people's happiness. That is tamoguna. And happiness based on delusion and degradation is in the no. Happiness based on sense gratification is in the mode of passion. So mostly that's what people are thinking. Happy, be happy. This is the time to be happy. Don't make yourself sad by being Krishna conscious. They think that, when you're denying your senses and mind, they think that is unhappiness. And they think that any pain that you feel on the physical platform, on the sensory platform, is so miserable. And so they think, that's why they can't understand devotional life. It seems like, why this austerity? Why not? Why do you deny yourself of so many sense gratificatory pleasures? And so that's based on mode of passion also, that we think that only sense gratification can make me happy. And the weekend comes, I have to go somewhere and enjoy myself with the senses, then I'm happy. If you're just sitting at home or going to the temple or just doing something with simple life, then they think, oof, what kind of life is that? All the time they need some sense gratification to keep them pepped up in happiness. So, द्रव्यम देशफलम कालो ज्ञानम कर्म च कारक श्रद्धावस्तार कृतिर्निष्ठा त्रैगुण्य सर्व एव हि. Therefore, material substance, place, result of activity, time, knowledge, work, the performer of work, faith, state of consciousness, species of life, and destination of death after death are all based on the three modes of material nature. Everything is influenced by the three modes. Material substance, all material things are categorized into these three modes. The place where you live also. First, the broad category is, of course, upper planetary system, middle planetary system, lower planetary system. And within the world, if you take the earth also, you find that some places are in mode of goodness, and some places, like, it's good for just sense gratification. And some people, based on what grows there, what is the kind of atmosphere and what kind of people live there. Even within the earth itself is a place for austerity, meant for austerity. So it is really, that is why earth is considered to be the best place in this whole universe. Though actually, from a mode of passion point of view, earth is not at all enjoyable. Not so much. Just little bit of pleasure is there, but pain is also there. It's balanced, and compared to all the other planets in the description from the Bhagavatam we see, those are all places for enjoyment. Only earth is a place of austerity. So it's more mode of goodness, even among the earthly planetary systems. Bharata Bhumi. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bharata Bhumi te hoile manushya janma yara janma sartakakari kara para upakara. So you have to, why did he mention this Bharata Bhumi life, birth is very, very special, because here we don't get deluded by sense gratification in the mode of passion, or all these, that how it is in the lower planetary systems, totally, or, mode of ignorance, but rather we can easily elevate our consciousness on the Bharata Bhumi. And in Bharata Bhumi itself, actually, Bharata Bhumi includes the whole Bhumi, not only our country, but but within that, you see, India, or this Bharat, which we call now Bharat, is the most pious place. So, like that, there are grades, and you find that as you go more towards the pole, then, because the sun also less over there, more mode of ignorance, all those things, less sun, then it's very cloudy and dark, and it has an effect on the people. They also become gloomy, tamoguna. So place has an effect. It's also under different modes. And uh, yeah, the place, and then a result of activity, time also is divided into three: morning time sattva guna, rajoguna in the evening, and night tamoguna. Work also, one whose consciousness is for just for the sake of doing it without being attached to the results, is sattva guna. One who is very much attached to enjoying the results of the activity is in passion. And one who just does it without knowing right or wrong, something he just does without much higher awareness, is only for sense gratification, he is mode of ignorance. And then performer of the work also, the person is in the three modes. Faith also is in the three modes. We saw how passion is not much more speculative in nature, whereas this thing, mode of goodness, has got real faith. Mode of passion is more speculative, and tamoguna is doesn't know what is right or wrong, not discriminating. State of consciousness also we saw, and species of life. Human beings in the mode of yeah, like we know beasts and animals and all in that mode of ignorance, and devatas in the mode of goodness. And destination after death also we saw, where we'll go, are all based on the three modes of material nature. We can't avoid it at all. The three modes are very much there. But in Kali Yuga, it's not that you can tell somebody they are mode of goodness, they are Brahmana, they are Kshatriya. Very difficult, because it's all mixed up like anything, because we're not following Varnashrama. If you follow Varnashrama, then because the lifestyle itself will be conducive, uh, whatever profession we are following, Varna. According to that, everything is made so that you can say, Brahmana means goodness, and Kshatriya means passion. Nowadays, everyone is mixed up with a little bit of Brahmana, a little bit of Kshatriya, a little bit of Vaishya, a little bit of Shudra, all mixed up into one. We have a muddled lot. And that's why the best thing is to become Krishna conscious first. Prabhupada didn't um, introduce Varnashrama, but he said we should, but very difficult, because if you put some people, okay, they say that, okay, we will um, let's have farming communities, because basically Varnashrama is suited only in an agricultural setting, where economic activity is based on agriculture. If you have industries and all that, where you can have Varnashram. So Prabhupada set up farm communities. But who was ready to live there? They didn't want, I mean, they'll stay for some time, then they want to go off. There was not enough money also coming from that, not enough people. And then suddenly they feel, oh, I want to go to the city, boring over here, and they go off. So very difficult. Everybody's got a mixed thing here, there, everywhere. So that's why we need to chant Hare Krishna, purify our consciousness, and then it will become more clear which Varna I am in. If it's not even required, but somebody who doesn't want to surrender immediately to Krishna, then for them, Varnashrama is required, because they cannot operate on a fully Krishna conscious thinking that everything is for Krishna, whatever work I do, I'll do for Krishna. They can't, no, no, no. I want to, have a little bit of enjoyment at that time, this body. And so, okay, then for them, these by chanting Hare Krishna and purifying their consciousness, then they will be able to figure out in which mode will I be happy. That has to be seen before even choosing a person's profession and all. Unnecessarily, people are just thrust. The children, poor thing, they may want something else, and then a person may be in the mode of goodness, a child, and he may want to be an do research or be an educator, I mean teacher, or something like that. And the father will say, nothing doing. You have to do something which gives maximum money, or like that, when you don't have a aptitude for that. And that aptitude, we have to see the nature of the child and then decide what. That's how it used to be in Gurukuls. Guru will decide what you will be. They won't know until they do go through the course, and the Guru will know this person has got this particular attitude, is best if he does this kind of occupation and so on. Then they'll be very happy. And that's the purpose of life, to be happy and in the mode of goodness, and go back to Godhead. And here now, totally driven by mode of passion, values. And that's why we see so much of distress and unhappiness, disease, all this, whatever Bhagavatam is saying, we can see it happening clearly. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam books should be introduced in the colleges. I hope Modi ji does that, gets Bhagavatam also, then everybody will become, there's so much to think about. Instead of talking all junky things, the students, when they, after classes, they'll be all discussing, oh, today what we read in the Bhagavatam, no, it's fantastic, whatever, they can talk about it. And they will all get elevated. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Is that?
Mataji, for everyone, any one mode will be there, or modes of two, like sattva and tamas mixture, like that it will be there, Mataji?
All three are there. All three are there in everyone. Nobody is a full mode of goodness. See, for example, a Brahmana, okay, he's got more goodness. But unless he has passion, how he'll get married? How he'll get children? He has passion also. And a little bit of tamoguna also will be there. Something, some attachment will be there, body consciousness. All three modes are affecting everyone. Only the degrees varies. More of goodness or less of goodness, more of passion, like that. It's a combination. So Disha is preaching in the college and trying to give Krishna consciousness to students, right? Disha?
Yes, Mataji, by your blessings, Mataji.
That's nice. You
But
must.
I'm also little.
What?
Yes, Mataji.
I'm also what?
Mataji, I'm also little tamasic because I get up little late in the morning, Mataji. So I asked this question because I like to preach and chant and hear more about Krishna, but I couldn't control my sleep, Mataji.
That means you must be sleeping late, right?
Yes, Mataji.
That's why. Why do you sleep late?
Because Mataji, like that only it became for me habit, Mataji. And nowadays I'm reading at night only. So Mataji.
Reading what? Prabhupada
For
books.
exams. No, Mataji, reading
Exams.
for
Okay, okay. But you don't like to study in the morning, huh? Early morning. That doesn't help you.
no,
You'll be
Mataji.
pressured, no?
Because first to only I used to read more in night. No, Mataji, that habit it is there, Mataji.
Okay. All right. If you're studying, but you can see how, because actually speaking, in the early morning, when the mind is very fresh and Brahma Muhurta time, you finish your chanting and you study, your mind will be more absorbing, isn't it? Because your mind will be very peaceful. Can you try it one day and see if it helps you?
Yes, Mataji. I will do
Yeah,
today only, Mataji.
you'll feel very fresh, and maybe you'll study faster, and it will also, you'll retain it better, and no disturbance. Everybody is sleeping, and that time is also very peaceful. So you can actually study better, I think. You try it.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
It's
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. Disa Mata, your question is clear, Mata.
Huh? Pardon?
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम माता जी संकल्प यहाँ पे हैं वो चैट में देखिए
हाँ.
चैट बॉक्स में उन्होंने मैसेज किया हुआ है लिखा हुआ है
Oh, chat
तो
box
उसको
में.
हाँ
Acha, Hare
देखिए
Krishna Mata, my name is Sankalp. I came on Sunday to ask questions whom you promised that you'll provide me a satisfactory answer. I thought about ending my life because of my existential crisis and some PTSD traumas. What is PTSD?
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. That's why I was so fed up with life and God. But here Prabhuji told me that if I did suicide, I will become a ghost and I will roam around here and there and my life will become more miserable. I'm very scared. I thought suicide will solve all my existential crisis and boredom. But Krishna will make me a ghost. I don't want to become a ghost. What to do now? So first you understand who you are. Right now, what are you thinking? You're thinking you're this body, right? And and that is why you're being feeling very bored because you want to know the truth, isn't it? And you want to know what is the purpose of life, is it not, Shankar?
बोलिए बोलिए मुझसे बोलिए yes माता
So yes, so that is why you're feeling bored. That and because if you're really looking for the truth and you don't get it, you feel frustrated, isn't it? That's why you're thinking of suicide and all that. But why do you have to do that? Now you've come to the right place. You will understand perfect knowledge is available here. In other places, you may feel, you'll get cheated. They will not have answers for everything. But this place in ISKCON, we have perfect truth coming in, devotional, disciplic succession from the Lord Himself, and without. Mm, yeah. So, and we have the patience here in Kormangla to talk to you, to address your doubts, to so you can talk to us, and it's all based on the truth which is coming from the Lord Himself, and very nicely explained by Prabhupada. And we don't give our own theories. Everything is based on what is explained, what is given by the Lord. Prabhupada has not added or subtracted. He has exactly said what is the Lord, what the Lord has said, and we are repeating whatever Prabhupada has said. So you will definitely we are all also been in your situation where we didn't know what is life, and we just went around thinking, and we get sometimes frustrated because we see so much of misery around us, and we think, why should life be like that? Right? You think like that, isn't it? You ask the question, why is there suffering? Why should God create suffering or allow suffering? Isn't it? So okay, just in a nutshell, I will just tell you now, you'll still have many doubts that we'll talk on the phone also, and other devotees are also there, and Prabhupada books are there. The reason for our coming to this earth, for creation itself, Krishna, because we are made up of two things. We are marginal energy, or we are soul, and we have an external body, this material body. We know this material body is perishable, but the Atma is eternal. And unless you touch base with your Atma, you will feel dissatisfied. You're feeling this kind of disillusion, dissatisfaction, because you're right now only aware of your body, which is temporary and which is subject to so much of unhappiness. And you think, why should I have something which gives me so much pain and unhappiness? But on the spiritual platform, there is eternality. Always, we never die. We are always eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness, no suffering, no disease, no death. So that is our real quality. That is our real self. And opposed to that, this material body is exactly opposite of the soul. So that is why two opposites living together, problem. The minute we are touch base with our real self, then you will find so much happiness, and then you will understand why this world has been created. Why has it been created? Because we were there with Krishna in the spiritual world, uh, in our original spiritual thing. But we have independence. Krishna gives us full freedom. And then we thought, oh, why should I always be just surrendered to Krishna? And because in the spiritual world, Krishna is like that. He's unlimited, he's infinite, and we're all parts of him. And he wanted to have loving exchanges. He doesn't need anything. You were asking that day, why does God want our love or our service if he's complete in himself? He really doesn't need. But love is something very special. The only reason Krishna expands himself into so many people, into so many forms, and everything, whatever he does, is simply because he wants to exchange love. Now, love is not spiritual love. The desire for spiritual love is not a weakness. That is the only activity which happens in the spiritual world. And love is very refreshing, very elevating, very expansive, and full of happiness. So that is the only reason for Krishna wanting, even engaging us in his service. Even here in the material world, we say that we have to serve Krishna. Why? Not that he is some kind of a, what do you call, um, uh, like a don or something, who wants to engage everybody in his this thing, like a gunda or that sort of person. No, he wants to exchange love with us, and that love will make us also blissful. So the service is both ways. We serve Krishna and he serves us also. It's not one way. Krishna's all the time serving us. He's created this material world for us. He's expanded himself as the Paramatma and entered our hearts. All non-stop he's watching over us, and he only fulfills our desires. He only has brought you now to devotees, because he knows what you want. So that knowing ourselves, Atma, and knowing Paramatma, Krishna, is the purpose of our life. That is when you'll be really happy and successful. Okay? You're looking, first of all, you don't even know you're a soul, and you don't even know Paramatma or the Lord is also living there, who's your best well-wishing friend. And because you've forgotten him, that is why you're suffering. Not only you, all of us, we are suffering because we have forgotten Krishna. And the purpose of our life, the whole purpose of creation, is to re-establish our connection with him and become blissful. Now, why people are suffering is because they've created their destiny like that. You forget Krishna, then you do all harmful activities, right? And there is, you don't, it is not, I mean, karma doesn't satisfy you, but it's a fact. Krishna doesn't want us to suffer for all our sins. He's saying, I'm ready to forget everything. Just surrender to me. So even people who are suffering, that's why we ask them to chant Hare Krishna, so that you can reverse your suffering. You don't have to suffer. Suffering is there when you forget Krishna and you do all things which are detrimental to us. If you eat all junky food, you will fall sick. You cannot say, oh, why should it be like that? We are creating a destiny. So, but we don't abandon people and say, oh, you suffer because you did it. No. Everybody, Krishna says, you can jump across. You don't have to suffer. You just chant my names, become my devotee. I will overlook sins. And it's a fact. We keep seeing even hardcore criminals who have committed murders and all that by taking to devotional service, because devotees compassionately go and preach in the jails also. Then completely their life has changed and they've walked out of the jail, even murderers, because their life has changed so much that the judge says, okay, release them. And they are leading normal lives. So that is the power of devotional service. This is the only purpose for our creation. And in forgetfulness, we are engaging in so many activities which is not giving us happiness. So your inquiry is at the right place at the right time, and you will get all the right answers. Okay, Sankar?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, but Prabhuji told me that we are only servants of Krishna. Krishna is the master and we are the servants. So how can love can be attained by a master and servant relationship? Is there is any?
He also exchanges love. Different rasas are there. Not only servant, then, but the basis of everything is that we do it accepting his superior, because he is infinite. It is not a question of here in the material world, everyone is trying to be a master, and okay, whoever is lucky because of their good karma or whatever their education and all, they get a higher position. They try to boss over others. But it's not like that. Krishna is, that's how it is. There is only one God. Ekale Ishwar Krishna Arsabhritya. Everyone else is servant. What does servant mean? It's not like this material world. You see a servant, he's harassed and he's exploited. It's not that. Service in the spiritual world simply means that we offer our soul with love. Love means service. Can you say, tell someone, I love you, but I'll not do anything for you? You only do for that's the kind of love that today's younger generation, they don't want to serve anyone. Even marriage is based on, I will not serve you. I can't do all service and all for you. Then what is that love? It doesn't even last 2 months. Without service, can there be love?
Uh,
Huh?
Unconditional, Mataji, what about unconditional love? Like we don't expect anything. We don't expect anything. Like I thought Lord loves us unconditionally. If the love is based on conditions, like you do this for me, then I will do this. If you do this for me, then I will
That
do
is
this.
what this is, unconditional love. Oh, that's only possible with Krishna. Because Krishna, you can make me, break me, do anything, but I'm yours perpetually. That's what the gopis say. You may appear before me, or you may make me broken-hearted without appearing before me. You're still my master unconditionally. We put no conditions for serving Krishna. Whatever you want, you do. I'm sold out to you. But we are doing to the right person, because Krishna is so full of love, full of intelligence, everything. So he will only, and he's my best well-wishing friend. So I trust him completely. Sometimes it may seem that he is making me broken-hearted and all, but I have complete trust in him, because he will only do what is good, what is perfect, what is pure, what is truth. So only to Krishna you can completely surrender like that. So that is when you will feel very, very happy. Unconditional love. It's very nice. Your heart is wanting unconditional love. Very nice. You're the best candidate for Krishna consciousness.
So
Your soul will become happy because you're seeking that. You're not seeking conditional love, isn't it?
yes.
So
So
you will feel
God loves
very quickly. You can't, huh?
God loves me unconditionally, or did I have to do some service or some
Yes,
stuffs to make him?
unconditionally means that you don't expect, oh, now I'm doing Krishna, make me richer and make me more famous, make me get this position. No, you're doing it because you love God. That's it, isn't it? You want to do that kind of service?
No, actually, I don't love God. I just have some questions based on
Okay.
the morality of God. That whatever God does, it's really good, or it's just our imagination. I mean,
Whatever is?
is there any objective truth in that, or is just subjective truth? Objective truth,
What?
like
Objective in what? Objective of what?
objective morality in like it can be like like 2 + 2 is 4 is objective truth. The law of gravitation is objective in Earth. Like, so I wanted objective truth, not subjective,
Yes, this
because
is completely absolute truth. There is only one truth. There is no
but
relativity in spiritual life.
there
What
are
Krishna wants is the perfect truth. And everything, morality means all those things that you do which take you closer to Krishna is correct. And all that things which make you forget Krishna and make you forget your own soul, that is sin. That's all. Everything that elevates your consciousness and takes you closer to your own self. That means to your spiritual self. That is good. And everything which makes you forget that you think you're on the body, that takes you towards illusion, that is sin.
So, if we are eternal beings and the soul is eternal, so is there any kind of boredom like in heaven or hell? Like what we will do eternally, because it is eternal. We exist for eternity to eternity.
Yes,
So
all that is described perfectly in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so in a nutshell, I can tell, or somebody else also, that what is this material planets made up of? Different, within this universe, which is based on time, and what we do in these different planetary systems, and beyond that, with God, what are our activities? What does God do? How do we stay with Him permanently? All that is described. Not only that, Krishna comes himself here in his avatars and shows how he interacts. Even 500 years ago, Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he showed how he interacts with his devotees. What are his pastimes? Everything is clear. Everything is known.
when he when he will come back, like I have to wait for Kalki avatar, or he will take.
No, Kalki avatar. Kalki avatar is for people who are sinful. They have to be killed by Kalki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already come to elevate us back to Godhead. Now, you don't have to wait for Kalki avatar. You have to take this thing, help of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You pray to the Gaurnitai deities, and everything you start following. You come associate with devotees very quickly. You will, and someday, of course, Krishna consciousness is a very deep science. Whole lifetime we have to absorb it, but at least like we are all convinced and we are uh, going towards Krishna consciousness, you will also become like that. Okay? Does it make sense?
Little.
Huh? Little bit. Okay, very good. So please keep associating. Okay? You will
One
get
more thing.
all your answers.
Actually, my mind is very skeptic, and I always doubt on that is God.
You are very skeptical now. So what you do is, in the daytime when you come, you do now. What about your job?
Actually,
You
I
working
work
in Amazon? Huh?
as an intern, but something tragedy happened, and uh, because of my past, whatever you say, it was a past karma, or it was just God's test, whatever uh, I should be.
तो इन्होंने जॉब को छोड़ दिया माता जी, और मतलब वो परेशान हो गए थे बहुत ज्यादा, तो इसके लिए अभी उन्होंने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया था, क्योंकि उस दिन मोबाइल भी इन्होंने अपना मोबाइल भी फेंक दिया उस दिन रात को, जिस दिन यहाँ पे आए थे संडे को इवनिंग में, मतलब मॉर्निंग में। फिर उसके बाद ये मंडे को मॉर्निंग में आए, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने, मैं इनको कीर्तन में भी लेके गया था, कीर्तन में भी गए थे ये उस दिन संडे को। तो उसके बाद इवनिंग में मैंने बोला कि आना इवनिंग में, तो इवनिंग में नहीं आ पाए, ये इवनिंग में गए थे कहीं पे मतलब उल्टा सीधा करने। तो उसके बाद मॉर्निंग में आए 5 बजे, 5 o'clock। तो आए तो आरती अटेंड किया, मंगला आरती अटेंड किया, चैंटिंग किया। तो उसके बाद मैं बैठ के बात किया, काफी सारा बात हम लोगों ने किया। तो फिर काफी सारी चीजें क्लियर हुई, और कुछ चीजें मैंने बोला कि वो कुछ चीजें प्रभु जी बताएंगे, माता जी बताएंगे। तो ये आप ही का वेट कर रहे थे कि आप लोगों से कैसे बात होगा। तो मैंने बोला कि अभी क्लास चालू होने वाला है, तो आप क्लास में पूछ सकते हो, बात कर सकते हो माता जी से।
अच्छा, ठीक है, उनको सेवा देना और आपके साथ सब कुछ जहाँ भी जा रहे हैं लेके जाना।
हाँ,
और
वही बोला
सेवा
मैंने
देना।
अभी।
हाँ,
कि अभी
सेवा देना। By doing service, you will feel great. That's the best way to make progress. Your skeptical, this thing, mental platform, that'll get purified. Okay?
पहले से माता
Because
जी ठीक भी है उस
service to
दिन,
God
जैसे
is spiritual. So whatever here, you can assist in doing those services. Yes?
Okay, or whatever tragedy happens, it's because of my sins of past karma, or is just God playing with me, or is just randomness? Like
See,
something.
Krishna is whatever happened to you is simply to bring you close to him. Because whatever frustration you felt is driving you to come seek God, isn't it? So Krishna is actually very merciful to you. This is the most important thing in life. Krishna does that to fortunate souls. He gives some difficulties, pains, frustrations. Then you don't know what is the purpose of life. Then you seek the truth. So actually, you're very fortunate. You're at the beginning of all good fortune in your life. Okay, so don't worry.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Thank you. Yes,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Who's that?
Harshita Mataji.
Harshita. Yes, Harshita.
Mataji, my family is in full medications, Mataji.
Acha, your family is all meditating. Okay, what meditation?
Medicines, Mataji. Medicines.
What? Oh, medicine. Acha, okay, medicines. Okay. Can't hear you, Harshita.
I think she wants prayers, Mataji, maybe.
Oh. But she said my family is into medicine.
On medication, she said, medication.
Harshita, why your voice is not heard?
No, Mataji, I was little emotional.
Oh, okay. Your family is what? Into medicine or meditation?
Medicines.
Okay, medicines. Okay. And what is bothering you?
It is, Mataji.
What is the problem?
So, Mataji, can I talk to you in the
Phone.
evening class?
Yeah, you call me. Okay. You have my number?
No, Mataji.
Okay.
Mataji, I
Can you
will
please
give
take...
her, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, please give her. You have a number. She's your friend.
Mataji, in Sunday's class, I met Mataji. I took number that time.
Okay, call her and give her the number. Okay. Tell her. Okay,
Yes,
Harshita,
Mataji.
you call me. Yeah, I'll talk to you. Okay. Now we'll wind up the class. It's quite late. So we pray for our just for our Guru Maharaj and for everybody else. First for our Guru Maharaj for his good health, well-being, longevity, protection from all diseases and complete recovery from all diseases, and for protection for his servants and for all Prabhupada disciples and for all our wonderful devotees and their families. And every other prayer that we do for daily, we include that and we chant 3 times Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Right, thank you very much. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Raj ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Kripa sindhu